Oop, did it again. Did it again. Can you all hear me? I think that you should be able to hear me, but I can't hear me. Check. Sorry. Check. Ha. Are we here? Ha. Check. Okay, I think that's good. Check. Sorry, I had to put together my studio again. You can hear me? Oh, great. Kevin Shanholzer, what the heck is up? Good to see you, man. Happy Black Friday. Yeah. We're here. It's the day after Thanksgiving. We're hanging out, talking about some news before we get into the weekend. All right, good. Glad that everybody can hear me. What I was not aware of yesterday until yesterday was that if somebody gives me a super chat on YouTube, I can't see it on my Rumble app. And thanks for watching on Rumble, by the way, Kevin Shanholzer. I can't see it on my Rumble studio, so if you do happen to give me a super chat on YouTube, can you just somehow mark it that it's a super, like just say super chat or something like that, so that I know it's a super chat, because I have to go into YouTube and go see that's a super chat. Anyways, all right, lots to talk about, and I'm sure there's lots of stuff that I have missed in my internet travels this morning. God dang it, I really don't like that. Another. Well, I don't know if this is new or not for Florida, but another state has put forward a bill on geoengineering. That's interesting. Since geoengineering is a thing, we know it's a thing that they're totally talking about all the time about having to do. If the if weather gets too crazy, if we can't grow food, if we go past a certain if we go past a certain temperature, if we hit some tipping points, have some feedback loops, we might have to do the geoengineering. It's such an accepted science on so many levels, and it's in the Ministry for the Future book, right? It's a thing that they're talking about doing in case things start spinning out of control. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing because you have one biochar. Yes, thanks for your post about biochar, Malcolm Young. Maybe that's a more valid tool in the fight against, or in the reclaiming of the carbon out of the atmosphere. Anyways, what I was saying is that regarding geoengineering, you have one side grant sure, that makes sense. Shanholzer says it's atmospheric pollution to block sun radiation. That's another way to put it. Well, you have one side that's completely understands it's a thing, but doesn't think that we're doing it yet. But if you're on the other side that thinks we're doing it already, you're a lunatic. So it's kind of an odd, and they're saying that all the people putting forth these geoengineering bills and these Congresses are, wild-eyed, loony Trumpers, QAnoners, right-wing weirdos, et cetera, et cetera. All the pejoratives, but it's an interesting topic, and it's also interesting to me that such a widely known technology, and yet if it's just the difference of whether you believe it's going on right now, or scientists are working really hard to see if if they're going to make it work. It's just the difference of whether you think it's going on right now or not. But and I don't know if there's ever going to be a consensus on that until it actually happens, or they admit it. Oh, we've been doing it for years, or we're about to do it. Here it is. I don't know. My personal thoughts on it. And you may think me a lunatic for thinking that they've been doing it for a long ass time, but they know everything about it, and they're already deploying it. Well, here's a I don't know. I'll show you the story first, and then one more thing I wanted to say about it was well, what was the thing I was going to say? I don't know. Just forgot it. Oh, what's the they're taking they're reducing global dimming through the elimination of like bunker fuel in ships, right? And apparently that's making the temperature go up, right? That's the consensus is that that we're getting such a huge spike in temperatures because of the lack of bunker fuel. But so It's kind of an odd thing, right? Because you're literally taking some of the global dimming out, which is basically geoengineering. What the theory of what geoengineering basically is putting particulates in the sky to block the sun and keep the earth cool. But if you're eliminating bunker fuel, which causes the temperature of the earth to spike, aren't you eliminating the geoengineering that we're doing already? And I guess, obviously the theory is that the bunker fuel, these particulates in the air, they're bad for people, they're toxic and poisonous, and we got to remove them. And that all makes sense to me and a lot of people. But if you remove them, we have a problem. The temperature spikes and everything goes haywire, and oh my God, we're heading towards 2C, or already there, or whatever, wherever you stand on it, we're already at 2C. So it seems a little, it seems like a weird, thought process to go like, we're going to eliminate bunker fuel and the global dimming and the temperatures are going to spike. And then we're going to have to do some geoengineering because, oh my God, it's too hot, like it just, but my question is, if they're already doing it, how much of that is in the mix of where the temperature is actually at? And because we can't get a clear answer on whether they're doing it or not, no, I don't believe the official, like, no way, we would never do that. Because, of course, the people in charge totally, do all their things according to a strict ethical guideline. And they would never do anything illegal or secret. So, yeah. If they're already doing it, how much of that is in the mix? How much of the suppression of global heating by the chemtrailing or geoengineering, whatever you want to call it, chemtrailing, how much of a suppression is already in the mix, compared to the global dimming, the bunker fuels, and like, man, there's a lot going on in there. I think there's a lot going on in there for discussion and study. It would be great if we had some actual information that we could talk about, or clear acknowledgement of what we're talking about, so that we could get a firm grasp on, like, where are we? Where are we? Where are we on the curve of planetary destruction and or salvation? I don't know. Oh, that's interesting. Role of aerosolized coal fly ash in the global plankton imbalance. Huh. That's funny. That's a good point, Gene Whitworth. What's amazing is you will hear tropes about how anthropogenic climate change is a hoax, but practically in the next sentence they acknowledge the existence of geoengineering, which is great point. I I have to pat myself on the back. Wait, hold on. Geophysical consequences of tropospheric particulate heating. Further evidence of the anthropogenic global warming is principally caused by particulate pollution. Wow, huh? Well, these are very applicable. Aerosolized coal fly ash pollutants, all right, we're not talking about geoengineering or chemtrails, we're talking about pollutants from non-sequestered coal-fired power plant emissions and from undisclosed, although hidden in plain sight, tropospheric particulate there's the geoengineering operations are inflicting irreparable damage to the world's surface water bodies and causing great harm to human health, including lung cancer, respiratory and neurodegenerative disease, and environmental health. And they're saying that all this toxic algae in Florida, the red tides and the whatnots, are all due to, or at least being contributed to by this. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems to make sense that put stuff like that in the air, that you would get some kind of side effects, blowback, whatever you want to say. Yeah, that's very interesting. Denver, thank you for that. Is Gene over at Kick? I'm not on Kick, but I don't know it. I don't know. Gene hasn't been around for. I think Gene got mad at me. If we're talking about the same Gene, Kate. Oh, because we were talking about geoengineering, and I think she got upset at me. Hopefully she comes back, because it ain't really worth being that upset about it. But I don't know. Whatever. People have feelings. Anthropogenic global warming is principally caused by particulate pollution. So long. Well, yeah, sure. Which is, they talk about black carbon. You're writing a YouTube guide how to communicate with extreme low information moderators. Okay. Well, and that's why they're banning bunker fuel or coal, or that's why they want to get rid of these energy sources that are heavy particulate inducing energy sources. They want to get rid, because they do really do a lot of damage, not to just to everything, to people's health, to the environment, et cetera, et cetera. Huh. Gene, if you're out there, come on back. Don't be mad. Gene was on a holiday in Europe? Or are you joking? Because going south. I know you like the jokes. I never know. I hope she was on a holiday in Europe. I don't know. That sounds great. Anyways, yeah. So Florida has introduced a new bill aiming to ban chemtrails. And weather modification activities that alter atmospheric conditions, including temperature, weather, or sunlight intensity. Spearheaded by Senator Ileana Garcia. She's got to be a white supremacist. The legislation comes amid claims that Hurricane Helene and Milton, which caused massive destruction in Florida, were deliberately manipulated. Do you support this bill? Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I think it's interesting. She was on Environmental Coffee House. Yeah. Well, yeah, because everybody at Environmental Coffee House is mad at me or something like that. Not a joke. She said Italy, Spain, and Greece. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, but she hasn't been here for a while. And we had we were talking about geoengineering, and I think maybe she took. I was trying to talk to her about it, and I think, I don't know, whatever. Maybe not. Anyways, hopefully she comes back. And I hope she had a great time in Europe. So, I mean, it's an interesting thing that so many states are introducing these bills. I think that's I think it's a positive. At least it will bring out information into the open, hopefully. You could say these are all loonies and they're crazy people who are, but I guess it's the idea of it is such that it's in the public domain, such that you have, Congress people in all these states introducing these bills, and they're going to be discussed. The fact that they're introducing these bills brings about the discussion, and I think the more discussion we can have and the more information we can get on it, I think is a positive thing. I think it's a very positive thing. I would like more information and or disclosure of what's really going on or what the plans are or what, I think that's healthy. Yeah. I was going to say, oh, because it doesn't happen much where, yeah, she lives in a place where maybe it's not happening much. Just called tomorrow. I don't know. Well, I was just going to say, and this is no knock on Environmental Coffee House. I love all the people at Environmental Coffee House. It's just, that's a place where, Trump derangement syndrome is not only tolerated but encouraged. And it seems to be a feature. And so because every time I talk about Trump, I don't, refer to him as a, insane bloody orange lunatic who must, be dealt with in the harshest possible terms. And he's definitely he's definitely Hitler. If I don't talk about him in that way, then people view that as Trump support. And I don't know. I just don't rock with that mindset. But it's cool. I mean, other than that, let's move on. Bumblebees were found to respond to rewilding very positively. Well, no duh. No duh. Bumblebee population increases 116 times over in 116 times over in remarkable Scotland rewilding project. I guess we could just say, yeah, no duh. Why are we still having to argue the case for rewilding? I don't know. Is anybody arguing against rewilding? Is that a thing? Is that a thing that happens? I'm not on Kick yet. I wish I think I should be on Kick. Maybe. Do you guys use Kick? Does anybody use Kick? Do you guys watch the videos on Kick? Would you like to? Is Kick cool? Can we kick it? I don't know. Let's look at this a little bit. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Bumblebee population increases 116 times over. The Rewilding project, Scotland. Rewilding Denmark Field, a 98-acre project based just north of Perth, has been working to restore nature to green spaces in an increasingly built-up area for the past 2 years. Awesome. Statistics from the charity show in 2021, when some of the fields managed by the project were still barely monoculture, only 35 bumblebees were counted. But by 2023, after just 2 years of nature restoration work in the same fields, the population increased to 4,056. The diversity of bumblebee also doubled, according to the charity, from 5 to 10 different species. Yeah. Why not? Landlords hate rewilding. Yeah. Well, it's kind of a thing. The reason why I actually want to bring this up is I guess, just come in contact with the wonders of rewilding even in my own neighborhood. It's actually, so where I live is Los Angeles. It's obviously right a desert or very dry Mediterranean landscape, and famously we have water pumped to Los Angeles, a lot of it, and people that live in Los Angeles overuse a lot of water. And for years there's been a thing about people, it's been a bit of a fight and a crackdown on people that water their lawns. Lawns are a thing here. They're still a thing here. I actually have a lawn. I don't get super. I just have it, and I try to tend to it, but I don't really like. I'm not into keeping it like super green and lush, and it just is there, mainly for people to roll around on, because I have kids. But in my neighborhood, especially, we live kind of close to the mountains, and the thing is to use indigenous plants, plants from the local environment, right? It's kind of a thing. So a lot of people are like rewilding their front yards or their backyards or their yards in general. And if you guys have listened to me over the last year, I've told you that the crickets have gone away. Not only the bees have gone away, mostly the crickets have started to go away. So crickets, which are a thing, they used to be like really loud and ever present in my yard or my neighborhood or my area. They suddenly like went away. And you hear very, very few of them now, except for when I'm walking my dog around or I'm in the neighborhood and I pass by one of the yards that are, fully rewilded. There are a few yards that are just like super rewilded. I hear the crickets are very loud and very happy. So it's fairly obvious that this is a thing that you want to do. And it's actually something I'm going to be working on extremely soon. I mean, I don't do any kind of like chemical gardening, or I don't, everything I do is very organic. I use compost and all that kind of good stuff. And I have lots of things growing and things planted and trees planted. So, and there's a lot of just kind of, I've let a lot of things just kind of go naturally. So there's kind of a inadvertent rewilding going on where I'm at, but not to the extent that I can attract the crickets back and or the bees back. So it needs to be, obviously my efforts need to be stepped up a bit. But which, I'm getting into, but I'm just saying from my observations around my neighborhood, the houses with the heavy rewilding are attracting the crickets and the bees, and they are becoming havens and butterflies, etc., havens for the bugs, which we need, right? UVC can explain that. Well, I also think that that's part of it. You haven't watched Kick, Kameshwari? Okay. Does anybody know anything about Kick? All right. I don't know. I'm going to have to go investigate it. Yeah. But it's so now there's a campaign in my neighborhood too, where there's billboards around on the bus stops saying, say goodbye to grass. So they're encouraging everybody to kill their lawns. The city is encouraging people to kill their lawns and rewild, which is cool, which I think is great. I mean, it's a very ingrained, cultural thing to have a lawn and to have grass and to it's still a big thing here. Again, in my neighborhood, about half the houses have grass and half the houses have a wild yard. So it's about 50-50. Mine is just on a lazy rewilding trajectory. Yeah, the UVC would kill the plant, but it seems to help. It seems to be that if you have a garden that is, wild or getting wild or has the indigenous flora in it, definitely, will bring the insects back. Judy says, my 1.6 acres is now rewilding. Interesting. The different crops of weeds that grow. Chickens like it and are now laying. Oh, nice. They were never going to say eat less beef. I mean, there's a lot of holes in a lot of the promotions that they're trying to get people to take on. All right. Anyways, of course, rewilding. That's pretty much the whole. That's all I got to say about that section. What's happening in the Gulf of Mexico? It jumped to the highest sea surface temperature anomaly to date. Holy smokes. This is November 28th. Dang. Yeah. That's not good. Can you guys see this? No, you can't. Sorry. Definitely, it seems like the lawn business is going away, and because of that, the gardeners kind of thankfully are going away. Nothing against gardeners. I actually think it's a very honorable work being a gardener or a landscaper, and they work hard, those guys. But it would be great if there was no need really for them, unless you're talking about coming through and cleaning things up a little bit. But I mean, it sucks because in a world where we were doing things better, a lot of jobs would not be necessary and or wanted. It's warm in Europe. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. Well, these sea surface temperatures aren't going to help anything. Yeah, I saw another post by just a typical like climate change denier type dude who was posting something about 2 years ago Spain was drying up because of climate change, and now they just had a bunch of floods. Now it's too wet because of climate change. Which one is it? Which was like going back to James Corbett, which is kind of his argument why climate change is a dumb idea. But so I patted myself on the back for calmly replying to this post, and I just said, the climate changes, and if you have extreme changes in the climate, then it makes it hard to do things like grow food or carry on with business as usual or have a normal life, right? If you go from so what they're you're trying to say that there is just an excuse for everything, but what they're pointing out is that you have the extreme drought and then you have extreme flood. And then I said, because the water temperatures of the oceans are very warm, you're going to get evaporation, and that's going to cause all these floods that you're seeing all over the world. It's kind of not hard to understand. I didn't say that. I put it as nicely as I could, and I just said, I tried to just lay it out factually, and hopefully some people will read that and go like, oh, it makes sense. Yeah, it can seem perplexing that climate change would induce heavy winters and or very dry summers, but it's about the extremes, and as you can see, the extremes are going too extreme, right? You can it's okay to move beyond the whole like, I don't understand, this is dumb, this climate change is dumb. That is climate. I know, it's literally the name climate change means the climate is changing to a degree that things don't, things are not normal. I mean, I could have went on and on, but or moves out of the Goldilocks zone, right? Human civilization has developed through kind of a temperate time on the planet. And we live in a zone of fairly temperate, right? The temperatures stay in a certain particular. It's why you have, growing zones. The United States has, these different growing zones. What you can grow here, and here, but those are changing now because the weather is warmer. Those zones are shifting. So what you used to be able to grow in certain areas, not so much anymore. Now you have to grow different things or not grow anything at all. So definitely things are different. Here, skipping subjects here. We're going to go to RFK Jr. telling you stuff about the flu shot, but you can also apply this to the COVID shot. You're voting in Ireland. You think the right wing will gain more votes? Okay. Here's RFK Jr. on what the CDC doesn't tell you about the flu shot.
In a million years, I would not take the flu shot. And I'll tell you why, because this is what Cochrane and BMJ have found. People who take the flu shot are protected against that strain of flu. They're 4.4 times more likely to get a non-flu infection. And you might find, and a lot of people do, that they get the flu shot and then they get sick. They're usually not getting the flu. They're getting something that is indistinguishable from the flu because the flu shot gives you something called pathogenic priming. It injures your immune system so that you're more likely to get a non-flu viral upper respiratory infection. In fact, the Pentagon published a story, and you can cite this, it's by Wolfe, W-O-L-F-E, in January of this year, in which they said that the flu shot not only primes you for flu, but it primes you for coronavirus. If you get, they had a placebo group and they had a vaccine group because they wanted for military readiness to see if the flu shot was prophylactic against coronavirus. What they found is actually the people who got the flu shot were 36% more likely to get coronavirus. And that's not a lone study. We found 6 other major studies that say the same thing. If you get the flu shot, you're more likely to get coronavirus. Look, all you have to do, Alan, and this is what Cochrane said, is look what's happened to longevity in the elderly since we started mandating the flu shot to elderly people. Those are the people who, their life expectancy has dramatically gone down as the flu shot proliferated. And if you see, the people who died during the COVID crisis, many, and there's no science on this, but it's observational, it tended to be people who got their flu shots, people who were in nursing home who all get flu shots, people who are first responders who get flu shots. All due respect.
Okay. I'm going to just stop there. As Alan Dershowitz, who I'm sure is going to push back. I mean, what he's saying, he said, this isn't backed up by studies, it's observational. So what I was talking about yesterday, the studies are not very prevalent out there. And that's by design. It's by design, and it's unfortunate because, these things need to be studied. I do hope that RFK Jr. can get in there and can make some kind of positive change. That's all. Even Jem Bendell is, I'd say this all the time, but I appreciate Jem Bendell. his ability to see outside of his ideological silo is great. Very few, it sucks. And I don't mean this as I'm not trying to bash on climate aware people, but it's, climate aware people can be incredibly siloed ideologically and tend to support science trademark, right, or science as the authority, and for obvious reasons, I guess. But that can get mixed up with science as a business, right, or science as a tool for or the idea that science can be manipulated in order to make people think a certain way, right? So they want to trust the science and no conspiracies allowed, and that's kind of the climate change perspective. But there are a few people who have the ability to think outside of these ideological constraints and look into things with a more clinical eye and have skepticism and have I was going to say, Judy, you said you took the flu shot for 10 years and you suffered bad flu and you stopped it and haven't had a respiratory infection in over 13 years. Good job. I mean, that's great that you could see that. That's awesome that you can see that. And stop doing it and take action, right? Like, that's good for you. I run into people all the time who are like, they would, I guess, be category, the people with underlying, conditions, right? Whatever it is, all kinds of underlying conditions. I have taken and seen so many people go get their boosters or flu shots, and right, and they have their all kinds of, they were like, oh, I have this thing and this thing and this malady, and I'm taking so many pills, and I'm on my way to go get my flu shot because I don't want to get anything. I'm like, man, you should just stop. For one, you should just stop going to the doctor. Like, I mean, if you can manage your illnesses without like immediately like going into cardiac arrest, if you stopped, all your interventions, like if you could manage to do that, I would, less would be probably better for you, is what I'm thinking in my head. I don't say that out loud because I'm not a doctor, but they're just not in contact with the idea that maybe going to the doctor every time you have a sniffle or a twinge actually leads to worse outcomes, and again, on a personal note, I've run into that. I have a lot of like teeth issues, and during COVID, during the pandemic, like I had, healthcare, Medi-Cal, they gave me Medi-Cal. They gave a lot of people Medi-Cal, and I was like, oh, I got some free healthcare for a second. Let me go get my teeth fixed. And what happened was they yanked a bunch of my teeth. It took forever to get any kind of, it took like 6 months to get, every single step in the process took forever because it was COVID, right? So it took me forever to get an appointment, forever to get in to see the dentist. And by the time I got there, he was like, well, he's gonna the doctor's like, well, we got to yank all these teeth first, the bad ones, and then we're gonna do some deep cleaning, and then you're gonna get some implants, and this whole, he described the whole process. So I was like, all right, sounds good to me, you're the doctor. So he ended up like pulling a bunch of teeth, and it was just such a process to keep going with this whole thing. And then COVID was kind of over. By the time I was like past the part of getting my teeth pulled and ready for the next step, COVID was kind of over. I didn't think I was going to have any medical care anymore. And so it stopped right there. But it actually made my whole situation worse. Having those teeth pulled took away all the support for the other teeth. So then all my other teeth started like becoming extra weak because I didn't have they yanked a bunch of teeth and they didn't have the support, and like it just put me in a worse situation. And I was like, dang it. If only I would have known enough at the time to just not even. So now I'm like, now I still have issues, but what I'm trying to do is do it as much on my own as possible. Try to like natural remedy myself into a better, teeth and gum health. And then, maybe have to go to the dentist, as a last resort to get some implants. But like, I went to the dentist because I had a few months ago, if you guys remember, I had like an abscess, and they gave me some antibiotics, which is cool. It took the abscess down. But what I was already doing some things, the dentist was saying like, keep doing those things because they're good. And I was like, all right. And so the abscess went away, and I was like, I know as soon as I go in there, they're going to start yanking my teeth, and I just don't want that to happen. So I was like, nah, I'm going to like push it off a little more and hopefully like go back in, at a later time. But I mean, I just, if they yank any more teeth, I'm not going to be able to eat. Not going to have any teeth. They're going to just yank them all out. They're all going to fall out. And then I'm just going to be like, and then I'm going to have to like then it's going to be just super bad. We'll see how that goes. I'm sure you guys enjoyed that whole story. Anyways, Jem Bendell, where was I? I was at Jem Bendell. He's talking about Jay Bhattacharya, and he's like, this is good. Now that non-authoritarian medical scientists are beginning to take positions of power, such as Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, we are a step closer to wider awareness of the profiteering sham that was the COVID orthodoxy. I don't expect the medical aggressors to be held accountable, but at least there's a chance for learning. I'm proud to have been part of the medical freedom movement since mid 2021, when so few environmentalists or leftists would deviate from the nonsense being told to us by corporate media and lobbied officials. Dang, that's a pretty big indictment by Jem Bendell on the environmental folks who really just ate all that up, hook, line, and sinker. You feel better with no teeth? George Robson? Really? Do you have no teeth? Yeah, I love food and I like eating. I don't know. This is just a great statement, though. He's calling it out. He's calling out the a lot of the COVID nonsense for what it was, which was corporate engineered propaganda, and to the point that it became policy of the Biden administration to threaten people with their livelihoods if they didn't take this medical intervention that was created by these corporate, I mean, think about the fascism of that. A corporation, designs this product built around, whatever, designs a product and then has the power of the government, which already happens to your kids. Think about the absolute insanity and think about that. Like from if the Nazis did something like that, well, they forced this, these untested medical things on children. And the government forced the children to take all these things, and they were very dubious benefit to risk percentages in there. People would be aghast. People would be like, oh my God, but that's exactly what happens. Anyways. Yeah. This, corporate design, this entire corporate propaganda that was designed to force this thing into everybody, and with the aid of the government and the military and Donald Trump, by the way. Don't forget, he was part of that too. Which is now widely seen as failed and wrong policy, even though they continue with the messaging continues to be, and I don't know how YouTube is going to feel about this, because they still at the drop of a hat continue with the policy of you believe this lie or else, right? Or else we're gonna get you if you don't toe the line with this lie. We're gonna get you. By the way, vaccines are safe and effective. Always take your vaccines. Everybody go run to the doctor right now and get a vaccine. But that, that's a perfect example of insane, out of control fascism. Oh, blood pressure medicine. Yeah, Judy. Yeah, I have I've known some people who got put on the blood pressure medicine and you can't stop taking it. They tell you like you can never stop taking it. I don't know if you ever started, Judy, or ever started and stopped. But that's what I've heard about some of these blood pressure medications that get you on them and they're like, you can't ever stop taking them. You're screwed. And what a delicious payday that is for the pharmaceutical companies. I don't know about the veracity of this video because you can't really see Bill Gates in this car, but apparently the Brits went after Bill Gates. I don't know if there's a confirmation on this video, but there's a bunch of British people that have surrounded this car and they're shouting at him, "Arrest Bill Gates," calling him a murderer.
You murdering Bill Gates! You son of a bitch! You have blood on your hands! You have blood on your
Wow.
You know who you are, you son of a bitch! Murder! Arrest Bill Gates!
Is that him in the front? I guess that's him. I don't know why he'd be in the front seat. I can't tell. Anyways, they think that's Bill Gates, and they got awful mad. So no teeth is very healthy, Malcolm Young. You guys are pro no teeth. All right. "23 teeth removed in your 30s? Golly. That's a lot of teeth. All right, guys, if you like this show, if you enjoy this show, if you enjoy the show coming to you for free 99 Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekends, once in a while, here and there, I drop some extra videos. If you like what you experience here and you want it to keep on going, consider supporting the channel through financial donation. There are a bunch of links in the description box of whatever platform you're watching. All the links are there: Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, Coffees, Ko-Fi, Patreon, all those things. If you would like to make a donation, that would be super great. Many of you already support the show, and I do appreciate you. You know who you are. You don't think implants for teeth are the best thing? You have to be religious in brushing your teeth? Oh, metal bridges take up so much room in your mouth. A flapper? You mean like dentures? Flapper can be used in it's lightweight plastic held in place by suction and minimal cost. Okay. Okay. Good to know. Well, what I've been doing and what the dentist told me was a good thing to do. Pro no teeth. Haven't had an earache in 15 years. Headache's almost gone. Huh. Even if that wasn't Gates, it shows the sentiment of the people. Kevin Shanholzer, yeah, of course. Oh, what I've been doing, I ran across a video of this, who's a dentist, saying rinse with salt water. He was saying do it all day long or whatever, but I do it like at night and in the morning. I just make a little salt, warm water and some salt, and dissolves in the water. I rinse with the salt water, and it has greatly improved the health of my teeth. And I told the dentist I was doing that. And she was like, keep doing that. That's good. You should do that. So that is what I'm doing right now to try and keep everything kind of okay in my teeth land. Eventually I'm going to have to go back to the dentist, I'm sure. But the rinsing with the salt water has really done wonders. I also have a broken tooth in my mouth too, which is why I need to have that dealt with. But so far, not yet, but we'll see. So what do you have, Malcolm? You have no teeth, or do you have like dentures, or do you have like y'all with no teeth? What do you do? How do you eat food? You have implants, dentures, something? What do you do? I'm curious. My mom had dentures. My dad had very healthy teeth. My mom had dentures. I should have got the healthy teeth, but I did a lot of drugs, and that just didn't help. I drank for like 20 years, and I did a bunch of drugs, and then I stopped doing that. I've been sober for 22 years, but the damage was done. I completely destroyed my teeth. Oh, Gene Whitworth, you stopped getting the flu shot? Stop getting the flu. You stop getting the flu shot and you stop getting the flu. Excellent. You know what? I rarely get sick. Rarely get sick. I don't ever take no flu shot, and I rarely go to the doctor, and I rarely get sick. Baking soda, sodium, yeah. Baking soda, yes. You have nothing at all? I eat mostly stews and salads and grind nuts. Oh, gums get tough. Oh my gosh. Okay. You can chew with the gums if they get okay. All right. Good to know. I'm entering a whole new world of understanding here. All right. All right. You use a lot of salt on food, good for the entire system. Dragon's blood powder is supposed to help regenerate your gum line. Oh, dragon's blood powder. Good to know. I'll check into that. Well, let's see if we got something else to cover. I'm going to see if I have anybody to thank. I do. There are three more things to cover. I'm trying to release some music this weekend. It's part of a larger, I'll let you guys know if I do. Or just follow Kevin Sandbloom, the YouTube channel. Or Kevin Sandbloom, the Instagram channel. Usually post stuff there. But I think I'm going to be releasing some music. No, not salt, just not salt water. Not salt water from the ocean. Although that would probably be the healthiest. It's funny because I went to the beach when my jaw was like swollen, and I had I had that abscess, and I was taking antibiotics for a couple days, and it wasn't really going down. And I went to the ocean, and I actually, got a mouthful of seawater and like rinsed my mouth with it a couple of times when I was in the ocean, and it went right away. Like when I went home, it was like on the way home, the swelling was like going down. I was like, whoa, the salt water from the sea like completely just knocked out this infection. Bandcamp, yes. Also Bandcamp. Oh, that's probably where I will release it, on Bandcamp. Yeah. Oh, the White House, they have a Christmas tree because they still believe in cutting down Christmas trees at the White House. And where did they get this Christmas tree? From North Carolina. The place that was devastated by Hurricane Helene. They decided it was an interesting idea to get a Christmas tree from North Carolina. That is so saltwater from the beach. Yeah, definitely okay. Very healthy. Saltwater is, if you go in the ocean, very healthy for you. They really hacked down a tree from a devastated area and shipped it to Washington for the elites to enjoy. This is Jill Biden saying they got a Fraser fir from the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina.
This beautiful Fraser fir was grown at the Cartner's Christmas tree farm, where the Cartner family has been growing trees for more than 60 years. And their farm is nestled in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina, a region that was recently devastated by Hurricane Helene. The Cartner family lost thousands of trees in the storm, but this one remains standing. And
they lost thousands of trees, so we decided to cut this one down for Christmas. Why do these people just step on their own toe? Why do these people just do stuff that is just absolutely bonkers stupid? They lost thousands of trees in the storm, and then we cut this one down because we loved it so much. Thanks, North Carolina. Wild. That's wild. This is from North Korea. They're getting hammered by, the whole region is getting hammered by cold front. Record ocean temperatures meets cold front, record snow levels. This is North Korea. It's so, but I don't know, the Democrats do things and it's like, who told you that was a good idea? Who said like, yeah, great, go ahead with that? Jill Biden, the panda suit for Halloween? Good choice. What? It's the green new chopping deal. Yes. I mean, how many levels is that wrong? Yeah. I saw that video, Kamashwari King. Yeah. The Stanley Park logging. These people just love just chopping down nature and destroying it for their pleasure. So implants, if you don't take care of them, will get infected. Ooh, that doesn't sound like fun. Yeah. Yuck. No fun at all. And what is this? This is the last one. All right. So this is Donald Trump and Tulsi Gabbard are both opposed to Section 702 of the Foreign Surveillance Act, Intelligence Act, or FISA Act. Or no? Is that right? No, it's not FISA, which authorizes electronic surveillance on American soil. If they quash it, the FBI will lose a major source of intelligence. So this is The Economist telling you that this act is good for you. Glenn Greenwald says FISA's Section 702 didn't exist until 2008. Who was in office then? When the Pelosi-led House enacted it, it retroactively legalized Bush-Cheney spying on Americans without warrants. The ACLU sued to stop it. But now that it's Trump and Gabbard opposed, everyone acts like it's a sacred part of U.S. history. So they're opposed to this thing that's actually unconstitutional, which should be opposed to it. Will they actually do this? We don't know. I mean, if they do get this stricken, I will applaud. All right, guys. I think that's about it. Just checking on people to thank. I will see you guys on Monday. They got three implants. It's the same people who blame the voters when they lost. Yeah. The 3 implants were $700 a piece. I think they're like $700 each. Those implants are expensive, especially in California. All right, guys. I'll see you on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. And until next time, peace.